Does it say it's live?
Oh, yeah, it does.
Okay. I'm
Okay,
Corey.
awesome.
I'm Corey Lee, and we are from Family 360, Section 4. And
And I'm Cindy Henderson.
yes, and we're going to answer those questions about the simulated family therapy session.
Right.
So the
I
first
can read
one,
the first one if you want.
yeah, go for it.
Okay. Take turns talking about, excuse me, the points you identified, both the overt.
Live.
Yeah, it does.
I'm Corey Lee, and we are. Is it playing? From Family
Yeah.
360, Section 4.
Cindy Henderson.
Yes, and we're going to answer those questions. Where is it playing from?
I don't even know.
I don't have any other browsers open, so I don't know where it's coming from. Yeah, what's happening?
Okay. Okay, well, I guess we'll just talk over it.
Okay.
Okay, take turns talking about the points you identified, both the overt references and the more subtle ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
So some things I noticed was, and I don't remember, was it from this class that was, if it, the whole family secrets, and if they started blaming one person in particular, it's really because it's the whole family that has the problem? Was it this class?
Okay, well, I guess I'm not sure because I can't hear you really well.
I'm sorry. Man, I don't know what that is then.
I don't either.
Let's see, Google Effects. Wonder if there's a control room. So some things I noticed was, and I don't remember, was it from this class that was, if it, family secrets, and if they started blaming one person in particular, family has the problem? I have no clue. I'm trying to figure it out.
I'm not sure because I can't hear you really well.
I'm sorry. Man,
And I think it was.
That is then.
But they definitely started doing the whole blaming thing. That's one thing I noticed right at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, like right off the bat.
Right.
And let's see. And I noticed that that was one of the things that we had previously talked about. And in the reading, where is that? In the reading, I noticed that it said about don't stereotype people, and it's important in belief systems to make sure that you don't stereotype, that you don't like stick with one thing because then you can't find other solutions because you're only thinking of that person one way. And that it's important to not be linear, to not just think one thing follows, but to like grab different concepts and match them up. That was one of the things that we had previously. Oh, this is gonna be hard. I can't hear myself either.
Yeah.
Reading, I noticed that it said.
Yeah, I did notice that right at the very beginning when they all walked in. Well, they sat down and he started talking to them. That each of them kind of in turn started blaming Jimmy for like everything and kind of pointing all the problems toward him.
Yeah. One thing follows, but to like grab different concepts. I'm wondering, do you have the Google Hangout up with the preview open? Did that just stop it?
Maybe that's what it was. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay because mine was playing too right when we first started, so
okay.
No worries.
Oh goodness. Okay, well that is much better.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So that was and since you've already done this with someone, I can just run through it. Let's see.
Okay, well no, that's okay. I mean, one other thing that that I wrote down in this is that I thought it was great that the counselor would stop and repeat what he had heard and what he felt the family members meant and what they were saying. And then they all seemed very receptive to this and agreed, even when, like what he said wasn't exactly what they said.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. And that was kind of like I guess like a sense of coherence where he would kind of he would take their meaning and then try and move them together, and like at many points he was like, so you're feeling this way and you're feeling this way, so you are the same, and he kept like bringing them together, so that was good. And the 3 points for the belief system was like making meaning of the adversity, the positive outlook, and bringing in the spirituality. And I thought he did a really good job of. He kept trying to say like, well, you're not a bad kid. You just care. Like he was telling the sister, you're not ratting him out. You're just trying to show your parents that you care about him. Or like,
Right.
he's trying to make meaning out of things. And then he kept saying like, he wasn't trying to make it like blame. He wasn't trying to blame it. He kept trying to bring a positive look and like, it's just about love. Like we can fix this. There's solutions. So he
Right.
did.
It was definitely positive, and that was a good thing.
Hmm.
I think that's what really got them to see all the different issues and then really come together at the end, because they seemed much more willing to work together and like to go on dates and to, talk about it and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I definitely noticed that as well. And the organizational patterns it talked about, like you have to have the right balance of like fluidity and flexibility, and
Hmm.
he did a good job of saying like, well, you get a little crazy, so could you try and be flexible here? Or, like, could you try and talk to your mom more? Like, he tried to create a structure but let them people still be flexible, and he allowed open emotional expression, and he tried to get them to share their feelings. And I think he tried to like have the dad turn to the son and say things, so he tried to get things to be a physical expression to make that more natural. So I thought that was really good as well.
Well, yeah, and even actually, excuse me, having them move positions where they were sitting.
Hmm.
So yeah, I agree with you. That was very good.
So we now note the trends of our findings as a group. I think we both kind of identify the same points, that like he he was positive. He kind of went with the flow of our reading. He kind of matched that pretty perfectly, actually.
Mhm.
Um, and
Yeah, he seemed like a really good counselor.
yeah, yeah, he did a good job of making everyone feel not uh, like not the center of attention, because they kept saying, well, it's Jimmy's fault, well, it's Jimmy's fault, but he never just like stared at Jimmy. He was like, well, how do you feel, how do you feel? He did a good job of making it open instead of pointed.
Right.
Okay.
Well, and also I thought it was interesting. He said several different times, well, this may sound dumb, or, you may not understand this, or maybe I'm wrong, or, some little catchphrase like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that seemed to, I don't know, kind of let them know that he was there to listen to them and not necessarily fix everything, but give them the tools that they needed, to work through things on their own.
Yeah, yeah, he did a really good job at that.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely. And now, let's see. It says, now we talk about our observations, and was anyone surprised by the findings or observations? I don't know what that means. Like, are we surprised when we watched the session how well it fit with the reading, or what was, I don't understand that question.
Yeah, I'm not really sure either. It kind of seems to go right along with question 2, but they're kind of intertwined.
Yeah.
So, like, when I responded back, I said, well, we answered that above. But I don't know. The only other thoughts that um, I guess that I put in was that it was a struggle um, for the family to come in and share those thoughts and feelings, but yet they knew that that was something that had to happen. They needed some other help besides just, kind of dealing with the problems amongst themselves. So being willing to come in and kind of, open up and share those personal things with, and he even alluded to this, a complete stranger, and how do you feel about what I've said, and are you going to be able, do you think you're going to be able to work through these things, do these things, and then come back in a week and kind of report on how things are going in your family?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I thought overall it went right along with all the reading, but I think that's what it's supposed to do. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely wasn't surprised. I was surprised at the way the teenagers responded, because when my parents got divorced, we went to a family counselor, and the whole time I was like, this is so dumb. I didn't want to respond. Like, every time he'd be like, and how do you feel? I'd just be like, I don't want to tell you. So I was really surprised that they were so open. I thought that was cool, because when I was back in my teenage years, I didn't think it was that cool.
yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, that's a good point. They were very willing to,
Share.
not only share, but then be open to his suggestions to do other things, like you mentioned earlier, between the mom and the daughter, and between the daughter and the son.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And let's see, the next one is discuss and record how a treatment professional or a paraprofessional might prepare to capitalize on such opportunities to reinforce the types of resiliency factors in Walsh's article. So, I guess what I would say for that would be, in the article he kind of breaks things down, like where there's that bullet points, and he says, like, here are organizational patterns. This is flexibility, this is connectedness, these are how they're intertwined. I guess the way you would capitalize that is just in your teachings with people. Like, as a paraprofessional, you meet with students a lot and talk with them, and you counsel with them, and if you read those, study them, practice them, and then like put them into action, you can capitalize, because you will see the benefits of it. And I guess the best example would be, I work at Vivint, which is a security company, and we have a exact script we have to read called Griffin Hill that they just invented, and as soon as people started reading from that script, it even has, just like that, it has like different scenarios with the bullets and like what you say, and we've had 400% increase in our revenue, just
Awesome.
because it was developed by psychologists on how to respond to human emotions. And so if they're angry, we read this. If they're sad, we read this. So it's kind of like that, like when you read those things from the article and you put it into action, you can kind of see that revenue come back. You can see the people kind of change. So.
Right. No, I definitely agree, and that's a really good example from your work. With that situation. I've had similar situation, not like in a counseling session, but I've homeschooled my 4 children for 19 years.
Oh, wow.
And the company that I purchased the curriculum from has a teacher's manual, and it's kind of a similar thing. If the student says this, then you say this. And I think, well, how are they going to know, like, what the student's going to say? And then, sure enough, one of my students says the exact same thing. And, so I'm, like, already set to respond to that exact thing. But I also think, like, as we keep doing that as a paraprofessional, then we'll be able to, adjust that as we become a professional, and be able to, kind of add more and personalize things.
Yeah.
Client, as we get more experience and stuff like that.
Yeah, the personalizing part is really important. That's one thing with the script. Sometimes you can kind of sound like a robot when you read it, but when I started memorizing the lines, I can kind of make it sound more human. So I guess that would be the exact same situation where you would be able to humanize it and make it more applicable and make people listen better. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so now we just kind of have a summary, and I guess our summary is just he balanced the fluidity of everything and made sure everyone was taken care of. And we noticed that he followed all the points of the article, that he was open with emotion, and he, what was the other thing in the article? Open with emotion. He made meaning of adversity. He had a positive outlook. He had a transformation from their personalities from the beginning to the end, and he did a good job of counterbalancing everything. He didn't try and force it to be linear. He was kind of, as it came up, he brought up things and he would bring up old things so that it had a wide range of topic and it didn't leave anything out. It had open expression, and that it's important to use it as a professional, and eventually you'll be more fluid with it and have better results. So.
Right. Yeah, I definitely think the whole connectedness was, he did really well with that, and that, like you mentioned, going back to previous discussions and bringing that into the current discussion to, almost let them see, okay, like, this is what's been going on. This is my suggestion for handling it. What do you think? And then reiterating that kind of, especially like right at the end, he kind of went back over, summarized everything, and, really involved each of them in the whole discussion, and not just, like we said, not just focusing on Jimmy, like what the rest of the family did when they, first came in.
Yeah.
And then another thing that I noted was that with regards to Walsh's article and those bullet points and stuff, and by teaching and working together on the basics of resiliency, that will be a key to be able to meet and deal with, move through the challenge, and then come out the other side stronger and better prepared for the future. And not only for people that you're counseling, but for you as a counselor, to be able to, utilize those tools that we've learned in all these different classes that we've been taking, and then actually apply all of that and hopefully over time get better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so good. And thank you for adding that on as well.
Oh, not a problem. Well, I'm glad we were finally able to meet.
Yeah, I know. Me too. And I guess since you've already written your paper with someone else, I can just write what I can with mine and submit that.
Okay.
And let's see. Once the summary is approved by the group, it's ready for submission. So I guess I'll submit this in that. I think I still have the ability to submit it on the therapy session thing on iLearn.
Right, okay. Yeah, I haven't looked at that yet.
Yeah, I think like when I click open, it still has the submit button open. So hopefully I can still do that, and then I can post that, and then I'll just write up kind of a response to what we talked about today, so that will count as my writing since you kind of wrote with someone else too. So.
Right, okay. Now, when you turn off this recording, then you get the link to go to this, right?
Yeah, and it'll save it. I have a YouTube account, and it looks like it'll save it on my YouTube account.
Okay, all right. And then I guess, can you just email me the link as well?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And I'll email it to Mr. Bailey too, just in case.
Okay, all right. Sounds good. All right, have a great Thanksgiving.
You too. See ya.
Okay, bye.
Bye.